So here's the thing. If at least 20% of your marketing work isn't automated by AI, you're already falling behind. I know. There's a lot of hype around AI right now. It's going to replace jobs, do 10 hours of work in 10 minutes, slash marketing costs, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that hype is just that, hype. Most of the stuff AI gurus talk about just isn't good enough in practice, at least not if you have actual experience with the subject. But there are people doing legit things with AI, like my friend Gael Breton. I've known Gael for years through the SEO industry, and he's never been just a theory guy. Very pragmatic, very actionable. So Gael has been playing around with the hottest new AI tools for many months now, building cool workflows and actually implementing them in his own business. So I figured I should invite him to Ahrefs podcast and ask him to show me exactly what he's doing with AI. Honestly, I was coming into this quite skeptical, but Gael absolutely blew me away with what he showed me. By minute 10, I guarantee you'll want to pause the video and send it to your entire marketing team. I know this because I shared this episode with my team right after we finished recording. Okay, last thing. If you usually listen to Ahrefs podcast, I highly recommend that you actually watch this one on YouTube. The things that Gael shows are much easier to grasp when you can actually follow them on screen. Alright, enough with the intro, let's roll the episode.
Ahrefs podcast.
So what brought us here today is essentially vibe marketing, right? I feel quite inundated with the amount of talk about AI, about all these new models, and everyone is claiming that they have figured out how to automate their entire marketing team with AI. But the thing is, I know that you are quite meticulous with testing different tools, with figuring out what works and what doesn't. So yeah, when you were creating courses for affiliate SEO and publishing your strategies and teaching other people to do affiliate SEO, I always knew that the stuff that you guys are releasing are legit. So when I saw that you started dabbling with different AI tools and testing and figuring out how to hook them up together, I knew that I want to bring you on and kind of pick your brain and absorb many months of using AI for marketing in essentially 1 hour or something.
Yeah, you see that. Yeah, it's you can save quite a bit of money on whatever stuff is not top notch. And also if you're a small company, for a small business, you run marketing, right? You guys are strapped for resources. You want to get a landing page done, it takes 3 weeks. You want to, prepare, some copy for something. It just takes ages because the writer is working on something else, etc. And so the idea is you're going to do more with less, basically.
So yeah, let's get right into it. What is the first thing you want to show?
Okay, so we're going right away. Okay, so I want to start with simple stuff that people can do, even if they don't have much time, even if they don't, they're not very technical or something like that. Let's just go gradually into the nerd level, right?
Yes.
So it's I think the first thing I wanted to pick is I was oh, hey, I'm Tim Solo, CMO of Ahrefs. I want to help Ahrefs take the AI turn. And we're running a good SEO tool, and we want to find B2B AI opportunities. And this is deep research that you're looking at from Gemini, actually. I don't think many people use this. Everyone's using ChatGPT, but actually this one is better, I would argue. Google just updated it with their new model called Gemini 2.5 Pro, which arguably is the best model out there right now. But most importantly, this is an agent. And what this agent does is it makes a plan for research. So you see, it gave me a plan. And one thing I like to do is deep research.
I didn't get, what did you ask it to do?
I ask it to essentially find me opportunities for Ahrefs to jump into the AI world to stimulate growth for your company. That's pretty much. And the idea is you would probably give that challenge to an intern. As I said, fire your interns. You'd be hey, go and research what the competition is doing and give me ideas of things I could implement for the company, basically. And so this is not just a ChatGPT request. This is something that's going to go read hundreds of documents, etc. And most importantly, it does a research plan. And what I like to do is I'm hey, go and read Reddit, go and read Substack, all the newsletters that people are writing, etc. And find me use cases of people using AI in the B2B world, so that I can have ideas on how I connect my feature set with essentially what people are talking about right now, the problems they're having and the use cases, right? That's pretty much what I want. And the idea is like, it doesn't tell you how to run Ahrefs necessarily, but it's going to give you ideas. Like it's going to make you think about things that people are talking about, and combining what you get with your understanding of your company and your feature set, you might actually be able to get some good ideas for the company, right? So that's what I wanted to achieve here. And so like the trick here really is to be like, go and read UGC. Like basically for me, all the value online is UGC, but it takes forever to read Reddit, to read all of that. And I'm sure you don't have time. So if I can have a bot go do this for me, that's kind of handy, you know? And so like I launched it, and it's it basically did the research. And if I open the research here, you can see I have like a giant report where it just basically broke it down with like, you know, what is SEMrush doing for AI? What is SimilarWeb doing for AI? What HubSpot doing for AI? Maybe some tables, etc. Like it did all of that.
Did it pick up what we are doing for AI?
Yeah, it said that you started implementing it in existing tools, basically, from what I've read.
Good.
So it's like, you know, it's like, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. But the most important part is like, you're never going to read that, right?
Yeah.
Like, no way. But like, I saw you post on Instagram that you go to the gym, you go to the pool.
I'll interrupt you for a second, but that always amazed me when I was kind of watching how other people are using AI. They put some request, it would generate like a ton of information.
Yeah, and
they're like,
read,
oh,
right?
this is awesome. But you're right, no one is actually reading all that. Like, who has time? It's
Exactly.
almost like it would take you almost the same time and brain power to do research manually than read this kind of document.
I agree. I would not read this either. I would scan it. You know, I would like look like usually I would just like copy paste it into a chat and then chat with it. And the good thing in the Gemini deep research is actually when you ask a question on a follow-up chat, it doesn't just read its own report, but it reads all the sources it used. So you can see all the resources it uses, including, you know, some product hunt threads, some Reddit stuff, some Substack newsletters, etc., right? So handy.
Wait, again, I will interrupt you quickly. This shows that you still have to create a lot of resources if you want to be present in those conversations of AI. Because if you stop kind of creating content, if you stop like doing thought leadership and all that, and again, generating backlinks, because still LLMs or crawlers that crawl the web, they still have to differentiate where is the content farm and where is the legit website. So things like brand links and all those stuff would still matter. And you still have to create content if you want to appear in those citations and if you want LLM to pick you up.
I agree. And actually, most of the models now, they get grounded in search. So they either rely on Bing or on Google or whatever to essentially inform the answer. And every time they are benchmarked, when they are not grounded in search versus grounded in search, they always perform better when they are grounded in search. So it's like people who say SEO is dying, not really, because it's almost becoming kind of like the layer under the user interface that people are using. It's a little bit more hidden and different. But it's definitely something that is not dead. And if anything, is being used more and more by these AI companies as we go, actually.
Speaking of search, I'm not sure if I can already disclose that, but Dmitry is actually preparing a product to kind of productize Yep search so that different AI agents and such would be able to use the API of our search engine. And I think he wants to launch it pretty soon. So maybe by the time this podcast episode goes out, we won't need to cut out this announcement.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's handy. And it's like grounding your answers in search always gets better results. The challenge for you guys is going to be that Google does it very cheap right now. Like grounding in search is extremely cheap on the Gemini API. So again, back to our problem. Great. It read all these pages, but I'm never going to read this giant document. So the good thing is actually deep search on Gemini has generate audio overview. And what it does is it reads the report and it generates a 6-minute podcast that actually is engaging. I sent it to you before the episode. I don't know if you had time to check it out. It's not perfect, but it's like, it will actually, like, it does discuss some interesting use cases of your clients, etc. It's not, again, this is here to give you ideas. As long as you treat it like that and not like, this is what I'm going to do with my big company, then it's not a bad thing to listen to when you go on a run or something like that. So when I go to the gym now, I'm generating myself custom podcasts on deep search that match the topics that I really care about, like very deep stuff that there's no existing podcast about. I'm not saying human podcasts are trash. I'm just saying, like, because this is more niche down on what I care about, in a way, this adds more value than maybe some generic podcasts that would not necessarily apply to what I'm actually doing right now. And so that's useful to me.
Use case that I'm thinking for it is kind of similar to what you just said. because when I research guests for my podcast, because I don't necessarily know a lot about their business, about their company and the kind of marketing they've done. So I have to listen to quite a few podcast interviews, and Michelle, my podcast producer, has to do a lot of research. But yeah, if I could just paste links to podcasts existing, and it would generate, first of all, kind of a summary. Like
that's the next one. That's the next one I'm going to show you.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's do it.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, okay. So like this is deep search. This is for like general information on the internet. Now, if you wanted to research, like the problem is like it's not very good at getting YouTube content, for example. I feel like a lot of content on YouTube these days. It's hard to take notes on YouTube content. It's hard to retain. It's super great. And then it's like you walk away from the video and you're like, oh, what do I do again? I don't have anything to do with it. And so that's why we use another Google tool called NotebookLM, basically. NotebookLM, and you know what I did? It's like I actually put all your podcasts in there. So they're all, like I have an extension called, let me check the name, WebSync Full Site Importer for NotebookLM that can import entire YouTube playlists in one click on Chrome, basically.
Wow.
So that, now I've grounded essentially Gemini into all your podcasts. And then I have a chat. And I'm like,
wait. One question. This step of transforming audio into a transcript, when does this happen? Who does this?
It's unnecessary with NotebookLM because it's a Google product, and YouTube is a Google product too. So they are connected by default. The Gemini API, you can put a YouTube URL. It has the context of the entire video.
Ah, wow. Okay.
So that's very handy. Even on the developer platform, like you can put a YouTube link and then ask a question, and it will like actually consume the content of the video.
Wow.
And
so those, for example, auto captions that YouTube generates, NotebookLM already has kind of access to. Except
video. I'm not even doing it illegally. I'm not like you can scrape. Like there's platforms like API 5, for example, that has like built-in scrapers, and I could scrape stuff. Like if I'm using this into an automation tool like make.com or an A10 or like something like that, then I'm going to use some kind of API like that. But again, we're starting easy, right? So it's like this is like, hey, this is a free tool from Google. Just paste your YouTube links and then get some contextual information that is going to be maybe a bit more interesting than just a generic AI answer.
Okay, so what did you do here? Tell me.
So I put all your podcast links and I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast with the host today. We're going to talk about AI in marketing / SEO, the good and the bad. The host will probably take a somewhat hostile stance to AI. Based on previous interviews, what question is he likely to ask? And then it's like that. And then the good thing is like it gives me questions, but most importantly, it gives me sources. So I can click on it and it will open the podcast. And then it's like actually tells me like where I got the idea from, right? So I can click on it and it's like, okay, from this one and from the same one apparently. But like you get the idea. And then it will just scroll you down to exactly what it meant. So it's like, then I can go back to the source material and actually consume it. It doesn't mean I should only stop at AI. It means like it's a great way to index everything that you've done, and then I can contextually get the information I'm looking for using NotebookLM. So very, very handy for your favorite creators. Like, you know, for example, like on the NotebookLM, I'll take like let's say Hormozy, right? Everyone loves Hormozy, but he makes like 1.5 hour videos. Nobody has time to watch them, right? It's like, let's be honest. Again, it's like, I want to keep up with that stuff. There's some good tips in there, but it's like, I don't have time for the rest. So it's like, I could be like, hey, I'm bootstrapping. I can't type. Strapping. How do I generate my first sales? And then really the gauge of quality of this is like, how comparable is it to like a generic ChatGPT answer, basically, right? It's like, and then it's like, you can say like, first of all, I prompted it to sound like the creator. So I actually made a system prompt that says like, sound like them. It's more fun, you know? And then, yeah, it's like actually tells me stuff, but most importantly, again, it links me to the right video and the right part of the transcript. And I can just watch the video, to actually get that. So it's pretty handy, basically.
Okay. Any interesting potential question from me that it
I lost it now. I lost it now, but
okay.
Oh no, it's back. Is it back? No, it's back. Okay. Yeah, it's like you're basically saying like a lot of stuff about basically hating on AI content. It looks like you talked a lot about AI content in your previous podcasts.
Yeah.
And that like human content is better and that AI should not be considered for creating content at all. It looks like that's your stance given that. And also like scaling laziness seems to be a common theme that
Yes,
you might
scaling
come up with.
laziness doesn't quite come from me. That was from the guy I interviewed. Was it Brian Harris?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but in terms of creating content, I kind of since that interview I changed my perspective a little bit because right now
Okay.
I don't publish any single post on LinkedIn unless I first do a bit of brainstorming with ChatGPT or Claude. So yeah, I do see how AI can enhance my content, but you still need an idea. You still need an original idea. I would never
agree.
go to ChatGPT and say, "Give me some ideas of what to post on LinkedIn." No, never. I have I have enough ideas of my own, but to frame that idea better, like to tell a better story, to create a better hook. Yeah, AI is so helpful. And I can clearly see between my draft and after like 5 minutes bouncing there and back with AI, my draft becomes just so better. Yeah, so much
I
better.
agree. But I think it's like if you give too much power to AI, then you lose the authenticity and then
Yeah.
you will lose engagement on social. I have made that mistake at some point. I was starting to post stuff that was a little bit too AI sounding and that actually killed my reach. So just saying, it's not
Yeah.
always perfect.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to kind of like doing things more manually and it's kind of like coming back up slowly, basically. So it's like, yeah, you can go too far with that stuff. But again, like researching content with NotebookLM and getting ideas and then talking with AI to kind of like refine the idea, like that's kind of like the kind of new workflows that marketers have to adapt. It doesn't mean you disappear. It just means
Yeah.
you leverage these tools to focus on like the stuff that you can do better, and then AI does the grunt work. Really, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, I would love to test putting like 10 past podcast episodes with someone I want to interview. And because people on different podcasts, they tend to talk about kind of the same thing. So you have kind of your agenda, you have your, I don't know, ideas, ideology or whatever. And you typically talk about those same things. But on different interviews, you can come up with different stories and maybe add something. So if I would be able to use this to generate kind of one, I don't know, 15-minute podcast episode with like the most salient points from 10 episodes. That would be very cool. And that would, it would basically cut our preparation for interviews, if not in half, then like 3-4 times. I don't know, because we spend
There's an
quite a lot
even
of time
cooler
on
thing
this.
I can show you. So like you can generate that podcast as well from the deep search. Yeah, you have it. It's called audio overview, but they have something called interactive mode. And so interactive mode means you can interrupt the show and ask them a question and they will regenerate on the fly. So like, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it work here, but yeah, of course, when you do a live demo, it doesn't work. Oh, here you go. Can you hear?
Yeah.
All right. I just want to know how Alex Hormozy would generate the first 5 sales of a new business. All right. Of course, we do a live demo. It doesn't work. But the point is like,
Anyway,
the point is like,
taken.
I've used it and it's like, it actually has worked for me. It's just like, and so that's one way of like extracting
It's your
information a bit
accent.
differently.
It's because of your accent.
Yeah, it's
mate.
probably that actually. But no, it's because it doesn't have access to my microphone. I have a warning on my thing. Okay. Never mind.
Anyway, let's move on to something else.
I agree. Let's stay on content. What do you think? I think like you talked about like having an original idea. Let's not do that. I'll show you that after. But I want to show you like how I generate content and I get good engagement, and that's through our newsletter, right? So this is actually my inbox, and this is the amount of replies I have to the newsletter.
Wait. I'm not seeing anything. Did you stop screen sharing? Or?
Sorry, let me just share this time again. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this is my inbox, and this is all the replies to like the newsletter, like literally from last week. Like you can see the dates, right? And it's like this is an AI written newsletter, and like there is engagement basically. All I'm saying, and I think there's more. I don't know. I'm afraid to click, but yeah, there's more. You can see there's like multiple pages of responses, and it's like these are real people, like people actually responding and reading it, answering to a question I asked at the bottom of the newsletter. Like here. So that tells you that the engagement is pretty good if this many people reply to something that's literally at the most bottom part of the newsletter, basically. So this is basically me saying this probably can work. Now I want to show you how I do this, okay? And it's like you were completely right on the idea that you need to. Oh, by the way, I have something called rational Nazi. I'm going to get canceled for that. This is not a Nazi thing. This is just a guy that basically breaks down my, I want to grow my email list, but not sure what to start. It just basically just destroys my assumptions and just tries to give me a very logical answer. So please don't cancel me.
Nice.
This is just
what's,
a prompt.
What's the prompt for it? What do you tell it to do?
You're hyper-rational, first principle problem solver with zero tolerance for excuses, pure focus, deconstructing problems, relentless drive of actionable solutions and results, no regard for conventional wisdom, absolute commitment to intellectual honesty. And then it just has a bunch of stuff of like, how to do that, basically.
Nice.
The point is like, this kills my excuses, basically. Let's just say that. It's like
for people who didn't pick up the prompt, you can request it in comments and we'll ask Gael to post it somewhere.
I got it on social media, actually, but this is very handy. Like, this is like when I want to do something, but I'm like, I want to do this, but like, I don't know, it's difficult, whatever. It will just basically destroy my ego and explain to me like how I'm wrong and what I should do, basically. Anyway, let's go back to the newsletter. We're not here to talk about that. So let me go to this one. This is the one that you just saw, I think. Let me check, actually. No, this is the one you just saw. Yeah, here you go. So again, you need ideas, and this is also a project with like lots of there's lots of prompting to this one. So it's like I think it's this one, and it's like again I have a big prompt on like what I want from the newsletter, the tone, blah blah blah, like, classic prompt engineering. The kind of like
did you wrote it yourself or again kind of took it somewhere?
I used AI to brainstorm it, and then I wrote it with AI basically.
Okay.
So it's just like I'm like, you use the canvas feature, you just talk, it generates it on the right, and you're like, actually, like it's missing this, I would like this, and let's try it. Like you run it once, and you're like, oh, this is the response I got. This was not so good. I think it should be more like this, more like that. Let's change the prompt for this. And so, that's like a day of doing that basically. And so like, that's a very long prompt that also gives examples of past newsletters that I wrote manually. And I think that's kind of like the base of like all good AI work is like you do the work manually because the better prompts have real examples that show what the expected outcome is. And you're better off doing it yourself, basically. So that's the prompt. Now let's go back to the chat. And I'm going to go here. And so then the next thing I have, once I have like the prompt is used for every newsletter, is I actually just write really badly formatted notes on Notion. On like what I want the intro to be. So for example, I made a tweet that was like, oh, I've lost a lot of money when the stock market went volatile, but I don't care. AI is a big opportunity right now, basically. And it's like, I was like, oh, make an intro based on this tweet. Like, just figure it out. You know the tone, all of that. I like the idea. Let's start the newsletter with something like this. The sponsor, I was like, I'll do it later. And the main content, which is like this big tutorial that you saw earlier on the newsletter, was me just writing bullet points, right? Like, it's like, oh, I've replaced Google with AI, except maybe for local search. AI answers are generic, so I follow creators. Here's like, and then that teaches the NotebookLLM stuff that I just showed you, basically. And then it's like, I follow creators, but it's hard to follow everything they do. And then just basically I wrote down like the step-by-step how I build this custom NotebookLLM thing so I can query it, basically. And you can see it's just like 10 bullet points on like how to do this. And then there's a section with links. So again, one thing that's really cool is I actually taught this chatbot to actually go and research itself. So in this case, for example, I was like, oh, tool of the week is lovable.dev. And then you will see that it's just going to go and research it itself. Like I didn't have to go and gather the data or anything because I didn't, like this is something AI can figure out on its own, basically. And then I'm curious. And then it's like, that's what people reply to, which is like, hey, should I go more advanced or should I keep it simple, basically? And that's why I got so many responses. So that's what I input into AI to get a newsletter that has like
just essentially a raw draft with everything that you want to say, but it's not polished in any way.
And I don't try to. And so that makes me work faster, basically. I know that AI will polish it fine. And so like, okay, well, I spend half the time doing this, and then AI is just going to pick it up, and then I can do something else with the other half of the time. That's what I said, like get more done using AI, basically. And so like the good thing is actually this chatbot is hooked into Perplexity. So what it can do is it's reasoning. It's like, oh, I'm missing information. I need to research NotebookLM. I don't have all the information about this. There's a tutorial about it, but I don't really know about it. So it went and queried Perplexity. You can see with like, what is NotebookLM key benefits feature 2025? And then that uses the deep research on Perplexity that gave it a full report on essentially features from NotebookLM, etc., with all the sources. So now the model has context on what it is. I didn't have to put it in my notes. Then same for the tool, right? I said I didn't write the section for the tool. So it was like, oh, shit, I need to get to know about this tool. There's a section to write. I don't know what I'm doing. And so again, it did a query and got a full report with like exactly, like you see, it has like all the technologies using, etc. Like it's pretty good, basically. And again, perfect for like a short feature, like one paragraph for a tool, like good enough, which I'm going to edit later anyway. And then it just writes it.
Wait, chaos is a ladder. Is it yours or?
No, Game of Thrones. It's from Game of Thrones.
But wait, who came up with the?
This is me. This is me. Like this is the tweet. The tweet I gave it.
Okay.
I think it's like it's here. You can see it's here in my initial prompt actually.
Okay, because it was too good.
Okay. Initially that's Game of Thrones. That's not me. So and then it's like it just took it, but it actually was smart enough to be like, oh, that's probably a good item to use in the subject line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's also quite impressive that it identified this kind of catchy phrase and put it in the title. Nice.
Yeah, it's a good subject line. I didn't end up using it.
Wait, you didn't give it even subject lines, but your kind of system prompt says like find a good subject. Okay.
So like that's the point. It's like I built a workflow for writing the newsletter. Now I just input my notes. I'm like write a newsletter. The prompting is done. I just jump on this. It's like basically if I create a new chat in this folder, it will automatically inherit all the system prompt. And then I'm just going to be able to
I think we're automating
that.
Ahrefs newsletter with this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's not bad because, and also it has access to a tool called Firecrawl. Firecrawl allows it to visit web pages and read them basically, which means it can take screenshots too, by the way.
Nice.
And so like it just it's a little bit independent. It can query Perplexity that will run its own research, or it can open the web pages and just uses the tools when it makes sense, and then it just gives me that, right?
Okay, now you will impress me if you'll say that you automatically import this thing into your email marketing tool.
Not yet. I'm still, first of all, okay. I'm reviewing it. So the point is like, okay, I got a newsletter that was pretty good, but there's a few things that I didn't like. First of all, the intro was too long. Like this is a very long intro. So again, that's something I can maybe refine my system prompt on, and I kind of like iterate that on. And then I feel at the end was like, I think it has like, what is NotebookLM? So it took the research it did on Perplexity and make a whole section of what is NotebookLM, except that's not what you're looking for in a newsletter, right? It's like, this is not an SEO article. You want actionable stuff. And so like, I don't like this. I didn't think that was good. It did a good job at doing the tutorial based on the very sparse notes I gave it. It doesn't have the screenshots. I had to add them myself as well. So that's one thing that it couldn't do. And then, I didn't like that as well. I felt like it wasn't benefit driven enough. Like what you've just created is like, okay, that's pretty boring and bland.
I really like that we're not stopping at just saying, oh, it is so awesome, it generated the newsletter, but you're shredding to parts the kind of the initial output.
Yeah, and it's like, it's still fast, right? It still takes me like 2 hours total for like the newsletter per week. Like it's not a lot of time, and it's sponsored. I make money from this. And it's like, I'm not trying to fully automate it. I'm trying to do something of quality that people love. Like I want as many replies as I showed you, but I want to do it fast, basically. And then that's when the feedback comes back. And you can see I had 7 points of feedback, basically, which is like, hey, intro's too long. Mention the plus, like, again, very small details, but it didn't mention that you get the better version of NotebookLM when you have a paid Google Workspace account. That's a detail a lot of my audience will care about. It didn't use that. So again, I had to review that and read the full copy to understand that it missed that. This, like, what is NotebookLM? It's like an ad. Keep it casual, focus on benefits rather than features. What you've just created section, this was not good, basically. And then I was like, let's add a link to the to the link section. You can see in my copy I only had one. Usually I have 3 in the newsletter. I wasn't finished, basically. And I was like, we'll just put a link to the Zapier MCP. And I was like, browse it with Firecrawl, which is the thing that opens web pages to understand it. Like, I'm not going to explain to you what this is, just figure it out. Make lovable much shorter, again, like bullets with emojis. And then, again, the PS was like, remember, chaos is a ladder, blah, blah, blah. I felt like it was a repeat of the top of the, like, this is a useless PS. So I was like, I don't like this. And again, like, AI took this, went to visit Zapier MCP. Like, I was like, research it, it did it. For some reason, it actually went to on firecrawl.dev. So it's like, again, AI doing AI things. And then they started making me an interactive canvas. So you can see it can go a little bit random. And I didn't use it. It's fine. It's okay. And then it just gave me another version. And then that's it pretty much. And then I just worked on the sponsor section that wasn't done. And then we worked on subject lines together. And I took this subject line, Claude, your favorite guru's brain, and I messed it up. And so, like, actually half of the email sent with the wrong subject line. Still got a lot of replies, but the point is, like, I also got the subject line because it knows how to do that. So that's content creation for you. And then it's like, the final newsletter. And so, like, this is what the final newsletter looks like. And that's basically the final copy you saw on my chatbot, plus the screenshots I added, basically. And that's it. And then you can see the link, like, this is like, I added this thing from crawling, etc. I added a screenshot of Lovable, but we wrote it as I asked. And then that's it. That's the newsletter. So to me, that's like the reasonable way of creating content with AI today, which is like, it's still manual, but it takes a lot less time than if I had to write from scratch. I'm not trying to 100x my productivity. I'm just trying to be like 80% more productive, basically. And then then you can do things that people will still enjoy, I think.
Yeah, so what's important here is to have a good kind of system prompt to explain everything that you expect AI to do for you. Then, as I figured out, you would go back and refine this system prompt if you see that it is like consistently making the same mistake and you don't want it to repeat. You just like pay attention. Intro shouldn't be long. Just use like no more than 3-4 sentences. Try to keep it short and those kinds of things. But then again, you're relying on yourself to give it all the so-called information gain, all the original stuff. You put it, and then you ask it like where it needs to like research a little bit, where it needs to go and check the website and stuff like this.
Same as you would do with an intern. Let's say you had an intern that writes well but doesn't know your industry very well, right?
Yeah.
It's like probably the workflow would be quite similar. And it's like you don't have to research everything. You don't have to go get the stuff that's easy to get, but the stuff that you get from experience, the stuff that like is not documented online or whatever, that's what people are seeking for the inside that kind of content. You deliver that, and you let AI do the rest and do the formatting and make it engaging and all of that. And I think that's the kind of workflows that marketers are going to have to pick up. And it's quite easy to become a spammer with that stuff because you could just 100x that and it could be like, I'm going to send a newsletter every day and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's the thing. You need self-restraint a little bit. And it's a balance you find. Like, it's easy to go too far. Most people go too far. And most people also don't pay attention to the details. Like, they can't be bothered going back on the copy and giving feedback and so on. And I think that's what gives AI a bad name, right? It's like, I don't think it's a bad tool. It's just that it's the same as like, it's just like now the same tool can be used for spam and for quality stuff. Before they would be very separated. You have like content spinners, and nobody that does quality content would use a content spinner.
I really like your quote where you said something on the lines, AI is doing to text what calculator did for numbers. So it's kind of similar thing. So instead of trying to calculate it on your own, you just use a calculator. So again, instead of trying to write something well on your own, you just give the idea and you refine it with this tool. Okay, what else do you have for me?
Okay, I'll show you a little bit of automation. So I think like another thing that we do to promote the podcast recently is actually let me actually share the whole window. Is actually to post shorts about it. Like the shorts are like, I wouldn't say they're like massively successful, but like, an average short across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok gets maybe like 2,000 views, something like that. So it still raises awareness somehow to like the podcast, and that's one thing that maybe you guys can consider doing. And so like I'm using right now, it's like again strapped for resources, don't have too much time. I kind of want to get it done. So this is a little bit less refined than the newsletter because it's more of a process that's posted on brand accounts. And so I have AI. Actually, I'm using CapCut. That I can't show you CapCut, but the point is that you upload your video, it cuts shorts, and I watch all of them, and I pick the ones that are not bad, basically. Again, there's a human review process in there. We're not automatically posting.
Wait. Does it automatically cut shorts for you?
Yep.
In CapCut?
Yep.
Does it have built-in AI or something?
Yep. So it transcribes.
It
transcribes stuff and it gives you, there's lots of tools like that. There's a tool called Opus Pro as well, for example, that kind of stuff. So the point is like on the other side, you get a video file that's like between 30 seconds and 2 minutes that's vertical. And you can post on social media. That you should review, I would argue 3 out of 4 I would not post and 1 out of 4 I would post. So this is still not great. But the point is like I get these files, I put them on Google Drive, right? And then what happens is I basically have AI prepare the work for me, right? It's like, it's not the final post, but what it does is it downloads the file, puts it on Gemini. It waits a bit because it needs the model to process it. It essentially, it's queried to transcribe the video. So then I get a text version of what is said on the clip. Then I have then we have the Claude one that actually just writes a post for it. Like again, has a bunch of guidelines on like take the transcript and write the text description for it.
Why do you switch from Gemini to Claude?
Gemini is multimodal and can just transcribe video for very cheap, basically. Whereas Claude.
But why don't you continue using Gemini for writing the?
This
text?
is an older one. I would probably, if I build it again today, I would probably just switch to Gemini 2.5 Pro. Actually, this is just like I haven't rebuilt it. Like, Claude is still a good writer. Gemini is cheaper. Gemini is cheaper and faster. And then it just like puts the item on Notion. So I'll show you what like a final result looks like on Notion. Right? It's like I have this, and then basically I have the clip that is on the right. So like this, if I open this, I don't know if you're going to see it. Yeah, you're going to see it. Yeah. And so, we'll soon see a company with $1 billion for one person, basically. The point was that it's like that's a clip that AI identified. That's a pretty decent clip for a clip concept for like short platforms, basically. And then this wrote this. Now, my problem is like this is a little bit too pompous and not super authentic. So I actually use Notion AI to quickly fix it. So I can click on like Ask AI, and I can be like, make it more authentic. Again, you can make better prompts, but like I'm doing this quickly for the podcast. And the point is like, again, you can walk, you can walk with AI here on a decent text editor. And then it's like the first, this is already a lot better, for example. And so like, and then we essentially queue that on Buffer. And then Buffer just posts like one every 2 days or something. And then that's one way of promoting the podcast. It's not perfect. Like if we had a human doing this, it would be better. But it's cheaper and it's faster. And it's like sometimes done is better than perfect in marketing. You can't just do 100% at everything. And that's where like these kind of AI processes can pick up the slack for you, I think.
But from here, you need to manually go and post it on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts.
We use Buffer for this, so we just drag and drop it, and we just put the description, and it just selects all the networks, and it just posts, basically.
Okay.
And it just
there is no connection right now between this and Buffer?
Not with videos, unfortunately. Like the point is like uploading the video. Like again, that's kind of like, that's why you see this industry is like not mature yet, and there's a lot of like quirks to it, where you're like, you have these amazing workflows that people present to you on YouTube, etc. And you try and do it, and there's that one thing that doesn't work, and that just blocks everything. Like everyone has had that. Nobody's talking about it. And that's why there's still some manual work that's needed. So right now I just have my wife do that, like just on the side like this. I just post it. So I can't wait to replace my wife with AI.
Okay. Does your wife take on clients?
I can ask her if you want. But like the point is like this has reduced the human footprint. This has removed a lot of the tedious parts of it, and it's like I would not say it's great. I would say it's good enough for this process. And I'm not gonna, like, I wish I could do better. I saw there's a platform that does B-roll now, for example. I would like to try it, actually.
What was the tool where you built this automation?
Make.com.
Make.com. Because I believe there are quite a few similar tools where you can do similar sequences. You create some AI agent and then like you automate this and this and that.
Yep.
You chose Make.com for some particular reason?
So I actually, now we run most of our stuff on N8N, which is another tool. The reason I'm running this one on Make is, again, the video download doesn't play super nicely with N8N. And again, it's quirky. And N8N, Make.com is like $9 per month or something. It's like, I'm like, I can spend $9 per month, or I can spend a day trying to fix this. I picked $9.
Okay, last thing I want to discuss, because we're already 40 minutes in and I don't want to make this one too long, because you're already overwhelming me with a lot of information, but that's like super cool. MCP server.
Is it useful?
So it's amazingly useful. It's amazingly useful because if I would have an opportunity to push back, I would. But so far, we agree with you on pretty much everything. I don't see an opportunity to push back and call you out on something. So yeah, it's very cool, and I'm definitely sending this video to our team, to SQ, who's doing our newsletter. Michelle would definitely watch it as the podcast producer, and we'll try to do some of the things there. Yeah, definitely to our video team to try and use automations to cut those snippets. And so, yeah, we'll definitely try to replicate a lot of the things that you were showing here. So let's talk about this MCP server, which you made a formal request for Ahrefs to develop. And when I posted it on Slack, Dmitry, our CEO and founder, got pretty excited about it. So we actually started to work on it. But yeah, tell me more about it and why do you need this?
Okay, so you saw the automation I built on make.com, right? It's like it has these nodes. And essentially, these nodes are API calls, right? It's just a way to call the tool programmatically and get an answer back and do something with the answer. That's pretty much what you do with an API call. MCP is API for AI agents. So essentially, it's a little bit more than that. So you give a list of tools that the AI agent can use. So for example, you could say Keyword Explorer, you could say backlink analysis, whatever, etc. And then the agent knows it has access to this tool. It has documentation on how to use these tools as well. So for example, you'd make a list of all the filters that are available to the agent and that kind of stuff. And then after that, the agent can call one of these tools using the parameters that you've taught it through your MCP server. And so it can start making intelligent decisions. So I could make an automation that says, well, every week, I want you to go through all the SERPs of the keywords I rank for, compare my rankings to last week and see who outranked me, and then analyze their content.
Or new backlinks.
New backlinks with Ahrefs, and then give me a report of the new backlinks they just acquired. So I can just essentially do something about it. And so like essentially an agent is going to do low-level SEO tasks for you if it has access to an Ahrefs MCP server. It can tap into your data. That's what it would be able to do. And that's why I think people will go crazy, because people, like, for example, for like startup ideas, right? Like that's a big one. Like people would use Ahrefs to go and look at the keywords, the trends, etc., tap into all your existing proprietary data, and have AI start putting reports together and so on. And so the amount of workflows you can build is unlimited, and the ability for small players to scale up operations, deliver more value in general, without having more human workforce is going to be huge, basically.
I would imagine the billing for those MCP servers is kind of similar to API.
Or like credits, right? Like, can I use my credits? Can I use my credits with an AI agent? Like, what does it matter to you anyway?
Yeah.
Like, it's like I'm paying. It's like you have the log of my usage. If my AI agent goes crazy using my credits, you just tell people to rein in their agents. I think you sell a lot more credit in general by implementing something
We actually
like this?
stopped. We don't have credits anymore starting from standard. So we only have credits on our lower tier plans. On starter, that's $29 per month, and on light, that's $99. On all other plans, there's some usage cap that we don't want people to abuse, but no more credits. Yeah. So very cool and very awesome, illustrated with that make.com, where you can just connect Ahrefs and ask it pull up new backlinks to this page, or pull up the SERPs, or pull up the keywords, and then do something with those keywords. Yeah, if you can automate that stuff.
But if you connect it to an agent, it can make decisions. It can be like, oh, like if they did that, then I'm going to do that. Otherwise, like I'm going to do this other thing. Like you can actually involve like low-level decision-making because an agent can use that data as well. That's the power of it.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll be able to develop this server, MCP server, before this episode goes out. That would be pretty cool. But if not, I think we should be able to ship it. I'm not sure how complex it is, but it seems that Dmitry understands the urgency of shipping something like that, because people are already dabbling with those AI automation tools more and more. So this is something kind of the faster you develop, because like you have this automation in make.com that you are not bothering to rebuild so far. You don't have enough motivation to rebuild it. So whichever SEO tool you would use for MCP server first, it might be stuck there for a while. So yeah, it makes sense to be among the first people to do it. Gael, this was awesome. You blew me away with how, like, with the automations and use cases of AI that actually make sense, because a lot of the times that I was looking what other people are sharing, I couldn't see how I would use something like that. But with literally everything you've shown me, I'm keen to try it out and implement it in our own marketing department. I'm not going to fire any people probably, but I think we'll be able to ship more work.
Do more,
100%.
And
but I guess
you
have even more use cases, right? You prepared even more?
There's even more. Do you want to do them?
No. We can leave that. In a couple of weeks, we can do another round.
Right.
2. We'll see how people react to this one, and do part 2 with Gael. So a call to action for people who are watching this. If you want part 2, give us some comments, give us some likes, and I will bring Gael again, and we'll go deep into more different use cases of AI. Especially, I think, after a while, I'm sure Gael is going to discover more cool use cases, or maybe iterate on the use cases that we discussed today. So yeah, definitely give us some love, and we'll give you some content. Awesome. Thanks a lot for the chat.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for sticking till the very end of this episode. I guess that means you enjoyed it, right? Because if you did, I have to ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, or maybe click the follow button if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify. Not sure if you know this, but subscriptions and follows are the strongest signal for these platforms to show this piece of content to more people. So I would really appreciate it if you would follow and subscribe. Thanks in advance, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.